Welcome to Hollow Creek, a town where the nights were always too long, and the stars seemed to hide behind the thick canopy of ancient trees. The locals lived in quiet fear of the forest that surrounded them, whispering tales of something that lurked just beyond the light. Few dared to venture out after sunset, but for Mark it was just another night. Mark had always scoffed at the town's superstitions. He was a city man, newly moved to Hollow Creek for some peace and solitude. On this particular evening, he sat in his small cabin, sipping coffee and flipping through an old book he'd found in the attic. The cover was faded, but the title caught his attention. The Shadow at the Edge. As he read, the words seemed to come alive. The book told of a presence that lingered at the edge of the forest, a shadow that watched and waited. It would mimic voices, lure people into the woods, and those who followed were never seen again. So Mark chuckled at the absurdity. Ghost stories to keep kids indoors, he muttered. But just as he closed the book, a soft knock echoed from the front door. He froze. No one ever came by unannounced, especially not this late. The knock came again, louder this time. "Who's there?" he called, his voice steady but his grip tightening on the book. A familiar voice answered, a voice that made his heart drop. "Mark, it's me. Open up." It was his sister's voice, but that was impossible. She had died in a car accident 3 years ago. "Mark, please," the voice pleaded, muffled by the door. "I need your help." Every instinct told him to stay put, but a part of him, the desperate, hopeful part, wanted to believe. Slowly, he approached the door and opened it. The forest loomed beyond the threshold, dark and silent. No one was there. Just as he was about to close the door, he saw a figure standing at the edge of the tree line. He glanced backwardly before heading up to the tree line and saw it. The form of a man. "Mark!" the figure called. It looked like his sister, but her movements were wrong. Jerky, unnatural, as if she were a puppet on strings. Fear rooted him in place. The figure stepped closer, and as it did, the light from his cabin revealed its face. It wasn't his sister. Its eyes were empty voids. Its smile too wide and sharp. "Come with me, Mark," it whispered, its voice shifting and distorting. "I've been waiting for you." Mark slammed the door and locked it, his hands trembling. The whispers began, circling the cabin, seeping through the walls. He clutched the book to his chest, flipping through its pages for some kind of answer. The final page held a single line: "Do not follow the shadow." But the whispers grew louder, more insistent. The lights in the cabin flickered and the temperature plummeted. Shadows began to gather in the corners of the room, reaching for him. Realizing he had no escape, Mark did the only thing he could think of. He threw the book into the fireplace. As the flames consumed the pages, the whispers turned to screams and the shadows writhed in agony. Then, silence. The cabin was still. Mark stepped outside at dawn, the forest eerily quiet. The shadow was gone, for now. But the edge of the forest seemed darker than before, as if waiting for the next fool to let it in. Hollow Creek carried on, its secrets buried deep, its residents wary of the dark. And Mark, forever changed, knew one thing for certain. Some stories are warnings, not just tales.